How to spell diatonic diminished chord scales in 3 easy steps. Really are easy if you break it down in this way. Okay, step 1, spell the chord. I'm going to suggest the way that I've found is the easiest for most people. And it's called the minor third method. And it's taking into account the fact that diminished 7th chords are 100% symmetrical. The chord tones in a diminished 7th chord are all a minor third apart from the chord tone in either direction. So you can simply, if you can figure out minor thirds, if you can picture them on your instrument, if you can count 3 half steps, which is what a minor third is, however you figure out a minor third, if you can do that accurately, then you can spell any diminished chord accurately. So let me demonstrate. Step 1 is to do the chord tones. I'm going to do F sharp diminished in the key of E flat. This is sharp 2 diminished. I put my first note and I make sure to make it into an F sharp. We have to have a high degree of key signature awareness when we spell any chord scale, but especially a chord scale like this. Okay, now I ask myself, using the minor third method, what is a minor third above F sharp? And the answer is A natural. And I have to remember that the key signature is A flat. So I put in my A natural, my A, and then I make it a natural. Okay, so that's my first chord tone, a minor third above the root. Now, what's a minor third above A? And the answer is C. And I see that that is a C natural. That's what I need. What's a minor third above C natural? E flat. And that is an E flat because I'm checking the key signature. It's also very advisable in diminished chord scales to write the root of the chord again at the top of the scale because it's an 8-note scale and you're going to have a note in here as well. Okay, so minor third to F sharp to A is a minor third, A to C is a minor third, A to E flat is a minor third, and E flat to F sharp is a minor third if you think of the E flat as a D sharp. Perfectly symmetrical structure. That's a foolproof way to spell any diminished 7th chord. Second phase of the operation, insert non-chord tones. Note, they will be 100% diatonic. No accidentals are required if you are using a key signature. So I simply find the diatonic note here. I find the diatonic note here. I find the diatonic note here. And then I find the diatonic note here, which is F natural. Okay, now there are going to be times when there's an extra diatonic note that is not immediately apparent. And sometimes that extra diatonic note will give you a tension, whereas the other one that's available will not. So one case of that is right here. If you notice, we're in this key of E flat with 3 flats. Between F sharp and A, there's actually 2 diatonic notes. There's a G and an A flat. So at this point, you have a choice. Are you going to use the G, which is correct, or the A flat, which could also be correct? Well, we'll decide that in a minute once we're labeling our chord tones. We'll leave this alone for now, but I'll show you how to decide later about that. Okay, this is our diatonic note here, this is our diatonic note here, and this is our diatonic note here. No accidentals required. Okay, that is stage 2. Stage 3, label the notes. The chord tones will, of course, be 1, flat 3, flat 5, and diminished 7th, always, 100% of the time. So all we have to do is label our chord tones, and we can be confident that they are correct. Now we'll go back and we'll assess our in-between notes, our non-chord tones. There's only 2 things a non-chord tone can be. If it's a half step above a chord tone, it's an avoid note and it will have a solid note head. If it's a whole step above a chord tone, it's an available tension, and it can only be one of these tensions. There is no other possible tension. It's completely impossible for there to be any other tension. Okay, because if it's a half step less, it'll be a harmonic void note. If it's a half step more, it'll be the next chord tone. Okay, so this note, back to this note here, G is a half step above F sharp, so that would be a harmonic avoid note. But a minute ago, we just noticed that there's another diatonic note here, A flat, which could be used also, and it would give us a tension. So you have a choice here. You can either move this up to an A flat and call it T9, which it is, or you can change it enharmonically It's still diatonic, but it's just being spelled as a G, so that it visually it looks more like a 9. Okay, so just because I changed that to a G sharp, that doesn't mean that we're putting a non-diatonic note there. Right? That's still a diatonic note. But now we get a 9. We have a 9 there instead of just having a harmonic avoid note. Okay, so it's a B flat. B flat is a half step above A, so it's a harmonic avoid note. So I put an X. I'm just going to put an X there for the moment. This is a chord tone, and then we look at this. D is a whole step above C. That means it's an available tension, and that means it must be flat 13. That's all it can be in that location. And then we come to here, our chord tone, and then we come here, and F is a whole step above E flat, so that it must be T major 7. That's all it can be. It can't be anything else. And now we have just spelled our scale correctly, and then if you're handwriting this, you would just color in this note. In finale, the way you make it a solid note head is you go to Utilities, Change, Note Heads, Filled quarter note. And this chord scale is now complete. Okay, so that is how you write chord scales, diatonic chord scales with these 3 easy steps. The only tricky thing is finding if there's an extra diatonic note that you can insert. And there is a way to memorize where those extra choices are, and I will deal with that in a different video.